Hi guys, today we are looking at gender inequality and the pay gap phenomenon. Male and female physiology is different. Males have bigger hearts, large lung capacity, more muscles, and high levels of testosterone. This allows men to be more adept to physical activities. Women are more soft and nurturing. That's not to say they're inferior to men. They are more adept to humanities. With that in mind, is gender equality feasible? Equality of opportunities between the sexes? Absolutely. But does our biology allow for equality? Is it feasible to have 50% of bricklayers, oil rig workers, road construction workers to be women? Are women going to be lining up and signing up for these positions? Let's delve into it.
So like favors men really, so it's a bit unfair to just say
how does okay, can I have an example how does society favor men?
Well, like the high paying jobs. I know you're gonna say women don't want to do.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Please tell me where these jobs are just being given to men for no apparent reason, save that for you're a man, and I'll be there tomorrow morning. What? Just because you're a man, you get a high-paying job? No accolades, no need for qualifications, nothing. Just because you're a man, show up and voila, you get the job. System must be high.
But most of the high paying jobs, they favor men. Like a woman has to work 10 times harder.
Let me ask you a
if she
question.
wants those roles.
Let me ask you.
Men just get these jobs on a silver platter just because they're men. No need to work hard, no nothing. You need to put on the table just because you're a man. I think this is what happens when the conversation and the argument is from an emotional basis. You lose the whole plot. You start being logical.
I said
you gotta think, like in the 90s, women couldn't even vote. This is
in the 90s.
In the 90s.
So
yeah, it was like 1980.
No, that's not true.
Losing the argument, this always happens. Deflect or completely change the goals. She didn't respond to the initial question. Now she's on to why women were not allowed to vote. Unfortunately for her, Pearly thinks had an answer for her.
The right to vote?
20s.
No, it was 1918.
You said in the
18.
90s.
Oh, 18. I think you said
So in the
1800s. I think you said
1900s.
Okay,
In
but
the 1900s,
but why
women couldn't even
so
vote.
remember, but why didn't women have the right to vote?
Not interested in knowing why women were not allowed to vote, because then you would stop demonizing men. Then for her, men would stop being the enemy. The whole point for most feminists is for men to be the enemy. So the moment you bring an argument to the table that shows you that men are not the enemy, most of the things were done out of necessity, or they had reasons that worked in the context of that era. The argument falls apart and they don't want that.
So historically, men had to go to war and fight. That is why women couldn't vote, was because if you had the choice today in 2022 and we were in war and you had to go fight on the front lines, would you pick it?
War is raging on in Ukraine, and yet we have never seen a feminist who's advocating for 50% of those fighting the war to be women. They only want to choose equality when it suits them. So is it really equality?
For people,
the wage gap is a myth between men and women. It typically states that women earn about 80 cents on the dollar that every man earns. Here's the problem with the wage gap myth. It just accounts for all working men versus all working women. It doesn't account for degrees held, careers held, the experience, and a multitude of other factors that hours worked. It doesn't account for agreeableness, which is obviously a very important trend, because when you're more agreeable, you're more likely to accept the wage they give you versus fighting for higher wages. So the reason why men get paid more, right, than women typically is because of choice. Men work more hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They work jobs that pay more money. In general, men are way more willing to take risk, and they go into career fields that make more money. Women are not interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Women are more interested in social type work, like office work, stuff that's safe with air conditioning. That's the reality. Men work the dangerous jobs. You're not going to see many women on a construction field. You're not going to see many women offshore drilling. Women pick safe jobs that typically tend to pay less, that are involved with people. Men are more interested in things. So, and the whole thing about the wage gap, if we could really get away with paying women 80 cents on every dollar for a man, there would be no men in the workplace. Every employer would hire women.
I think these big corporations that go to third world countries so they can exploit the poor, just so they can increase their profit margins, are not going to exploit women. why would they not hire women? All the corporations then would only employ women because it would be more beneficial to them. Cheaper wages, which means bigger profit margins. But that's not the case, is it?
Debunk this. There's overwhelmingly more women in college now than men.
Yeah.
So why are men still earning women? It's because of personal choice.
So you just said women are not interested in STEM. The reason we have scholarships for women for STEM, you can look it up, there's programs for it, is because the society that men created, the patriarchy, conditioned men to go towards those jobs, the riskier jobs, the higher paying jobs, the jobs that they have the connections in, the boys clubs in. Women have not been able to penetrate into those fields because of society.
No.
So hold on. Let me get this straight.
Though it's not true. I mean, I'll be quiet. Like whatever.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I actually, like, 3 weeks ago, I had a friend who is in a construction job, right? And he has to go underwater and like repair pipes, right? That's his job. And majority of the women on his team do not want to do that job. He passed. He died. You know, and it's like majority of those women did not want to do that job because it's a risky job. Now he's a man. He did that job and he died. He literally died. So it's like, you know, he got paid more. And it's like, it's kind of sad and it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, like, women can't take those same risks as men.
Ian White is blaming the patriarchy for social conditioning. I am sure she's educated, but is she in the STEM field? No, not likely. She's most likely in the humanities because they are easier, which is what the whole argument is premised on. They do not want to do the higher paying jobs because they are comfortable, outdoors, hard labor. So you can't keep on blaming the patriarchy when you're in a civilized world that doesn't ask anything of you but to do whatever it is that your heart wills. And yet you're not going to do those jobs and then you still want to blame the patriarchy. Take some ownership and responsibility, ma'am.
In the army, women are in all forces
Okay,
of the army. Women lead construction. Have you never seen a woman on a construction site?
For a very
Miss
different
Pathological liar,
reason.
like, just be quiet.
Miss Pathological
It's not a different
liar.
reason.
Talking about your friend this, your friend that, your friend
Hold
Drake.
on.
Wait,
I'm not
pathologically lying.
Yo, guys. Let her finish her point. We don't need the attitude, okay?
No,
Let her finish her
seriously.
point, and then you can go ahead and rebut what she has to say.
Sorry.
Look, I didn't
Please
come on
finish
this
your-
podcast
finish.
to pathologically lie.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
I'm
And-
just saying that, like, he took that life, like, it's a very, look, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and cry because it's something that's emotional to me, but I'm making the point that it's like, women aren't willing to take those jobs.
Okay.
You know, like, they aren't. It's a very, like, men are willing to give up their lives all the time for women, for their families, for jobs, for religion, for any reason. Like, men are more likely to give up their lives than women are.
Okay.
So it's
Go
like-
ahead. What's your response to that?
It's historical.
Well, go ahead.
Seriously.
I
And then
never
I'll turn it to
said
you.
I never
I'm not
said
a
men don't
pathological
do
liar.
those
Let her
jobs.
finish. You made your point. Go ahead.
First of all, my initial argument wasn't with you anyways. It's just you chimed in. But I was saying
Well, she's
nobody-
augmenting because we're saying the wage gap
Yes.
doesn't exist, and you're arguing that it does.
yes,
Go ahead.
and nobody negated the fact that men do dangerous jobs in the army, you know, construction, whatever,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. But to say women don't take those jobs, if you've never seen a woman on a construction site, I have. Like, if you haven't seen women lawyers, most of the lawyers in my firm are women. Like, this is anecdotal evidence. Everything is.
And
The level of delusion this woman has, it's all anecdotal evidence. The amount of construction workers, the amount of road work, construction workers, the amount of oil rig workers. Really? And then all she has to tell us is that she saw a woman on a construction site. How many men were there on the construction site? Sometimes you just need to concede, like, you know what? I was wrong. This is why it's really important for us to have these arguments. Because unless and until we accept and agree that we are wrong somewhere, we are never going to learn. We are always going to be going in circles.
You had something?
I don't remember what the
Fresh?
argument was before she started talking.
Okay.
But-
So here's the thing.
Oh, the wage
Like,
gap.
yeah. So you're saying you've seen women on construction sites and stuff like that, right?
Yes, like
Okay.
project managers.
Fantastic. But here's the reality. Most women don't want those jobs. Those are exceptions to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So my argument is this. If we have more women in college, we have more educated women than ever before, they're still not entering the STEM fields. Because why? They're not choosing to go into the STEM fields.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Like 90% of the girls I went to college with were biology majors or health sciences. like not even to be nurses, to be doctors. So that is just a complete fallacy.
hold on. What
to
are
say
the-
women don't go into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yeah, but
I
how
know
many of those? Here's the
architecture
thing you gotta
majors
understand.
like
There's a lot of people that major in biology that don't actually make it to medical school.
Yeah.
molecular biology, biochemistry, everything. Biology was a
but you're still going to
blanket
need an
statement.
advanced degree. And then even when women get those degrees, they don't want to go into that workplace.
Yeah.
Like it comes down to choice. Like, I mean, we got to have a little bit of accountability here. It's not that women aren't afforded the opportunities. It's just that they don't want to work those opportunities. Women prefer to be around people. Like they're not interested in things, and women are less likely to take risk. This is biology. Like men, since the beginning of time, have taken risk because men have a natural proclivity to create resources. Women don't.
How dare you?
Oppressed, and that's it. There is no other feasible reason for the disparities in the numbers in the workforce and the disparity in earnings. It's just because women are oppressed. Leave it at that, guys.
The agency reports a workplace gender pay gap comparing male full-time employees and female full-time employees. But male full-time employees work longer hours on average than female full-time employees. And the agency doesn't account for this when reporting a workplace gender pay gap.
Using ABS data on employee earnings and hours, the gender pay gap as at May 2016 was 15.7%. It is a survey of employees, that information from the ABS. It's not a census. And it's only conducted every 2 years. They only collect the data every 2 years. What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
You don't?
But we annualise the part-time hours and those that have worked full-time but for part of the year. So that way, because at the moment, what I can tell you is women work part-time at 3 times the rate of men. So by annualising it, we are looking at a more realistic...
So you base it on annual salary?
Yeah.
What about if you did it on an hourly rate? What would be the gender hourly pay gap?
Well, we don't have that data, Senator.
You don't have that data?
No, because we ask for annualised salaries from our employers when they report their data in.
Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
No.
But well, then in that case, you are looking at hourly rates.
Virgin Analytics Executive Manager. So we do not collect the real hours that an employee might have worked. So what we do collect is the hours that are specified in a contract, and that is provided by organisations to us. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, do you annualise it on the assumption that men and women are working the same number of hours, or is it actual earnings?
It's actual earnings, and we are unable to. We don't have the data to distinguish or to then adjust for hours, because we cannot collect the real hours that employees are working.
So it's not possible to tell whether any or some of the gender pay gap is just simply attributable to a different number of hours worked. Is that right?
It depends on whether we're looking at hours that are in contract, or whether we're looking at hours that employees worked as overtime.
Why is it you don't look at hours worked? You don't collect it, but the ABS does. It's available.
The ABS does does a survey, yes.
Every 2 years.
Yes.
And but again, as I say, we collect census data, that is survey data. And the other thing I would say at this stage, Senator, is just because somebody might be sitting at their desk for 12 hours a day doesn't mean you're getting 12 hours of productivity out of them, and doesn't mean that they're working in essence any harder than someone that may sit at their desk for 8 hours. So I don't think
that's true, but they're getting paid for the 12 whether they're doing any work, or they're getting paid for however many hours they're sitting at their desk. And the issue for your agency is that if it's a male sitting at a desk, they're getting paid more than a female sitting at a desk. So the question is whether irrespective of the hours, the question is whether for those hours for which they're getting paid, is there a difference between men and women?